Hello everyone. Today we'll be doing third person pronouns. Last class we looked into first person pronouns. So this lesson you can find it in page number 34 given in the material in the description box. So yeah, I'll be getting to the lesson. So we have four mainly used third person pronouns. The first one is g, which means he. Then the next one is 그녀, which means she. The next one is 걔, which can mean he or she or whatever pronoun it is. All you have to know is 걔 is more like a gender neutral singular pronoun. Yeah, that's what it is. 그분, 그 means that and bun means person here. Though they do mean different things in other situations too, which I'll be talking on later on in different classes. So here, gubun means that person. And what you have to note here is that K and kubun are far more commonly used than K and Kenya. K and Kenya is usually used in songs, maybe, or in dramas, most probably. Otherwise, you wouldn't see K and Kenya for 90% of the part in your daily lives in Korea, or maybe in common conversations. So, though we do learn third person pronouns, another thing you have to understand is that usually in Korean, when you are talking about someone, you would mostly use a name or social position, or if you know who they are, who you are talking about, you would probably just completely omit the subject there. So that's how it works. And the next thing, you have some more rules given here, which would help you when you are using these third person pronouns in conversations, which as I told earlier, 걔, which means he or she or whatever, depending on the context, is used more frequently, but not. 걔 is used more frequently than 그분, but of course, 그분 is a far more polite kind of style to address someone, while 걔 is a very informal style. So you would only use that while talking about someone who is very close to you, very close of your same age and social position or something like that, or someone that's junior in age or social position when compared to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't use 걔 because it would be quite impolite to do that. While 그분 is usually used in more polite situations to address people who are far more senior in age and position as compared to you, or even if you are talking about someone younger than you, if that person is entitled to some sort of respect from you, in that case you could use 그분 and it would be totally alright. And now we'll be looking into what is 걔. 걔 is actually the contracted form of 그아이. Now, I means child, and 그, as I said earlier, means that. So 그아이 means that child. But then 걔 is actually the contracted form of 그애, and this 그애 is the contracted form of 그아이. And once again, 애 means child. 애, you could say that's kind of a short form of I Anyways, A and I means the same thing. And you would see a lot of old people, mostly grandmothers, aged people addressing like young people who are in their late teens or early 20s or 30s or something like that, calling them A like that. And nobody would consider that impolite. So now we'll see how each of these pronouns behave with the grammar particles that we have learned. So the first one is g, which means he. So instead of places where you would use he, you could use k, as we told earlier. So we'll see how k behaves with different particles. So k는, so k plus topic particle, it would be k는. So k는, when you speak, it would become, when you're speaking fast, it would become ken, like that. The next one would be kega. That is kga. You would, when you're using it in conversations, it would become kega, like that. Kdo, kedo. K를, 걔를, which becomes care. 그에. So a is, even though it is written as 의, it is read as a, and it doesn't always happen like that. It only happens when it comes as possessive. And when I say possessive, it is like the Korean equivalent of apostrophe yes. Yeah, you could say that. It could be the equivalent of that. So when you're saying 그에 with 게, it would simply be 게. You wouldn't attach, or you wouldn't say 게. That wouldn't exactly be right or make sense. The next one is 그의 것. Now, 것 means thing. So you're saying that something is someone's. So another thing you have to remember here is 것 means thing and 곳 means place. Listen very carefully. 것. When you're saying 것, you are closing your throat and opening your mouth. 것. But when you're saying 곳, you are slightly, very slightly opening your throat while closing your mouth. So both has different pronunciations. And 것 means thing, while 곳 means place. The next one is 그녀. And 그녀, once again, 그녀는 그녀가, 그녀도 그녀를. It's all the same. And again, when you're speaking, instead of 그녀, 그, all that, as I told earlier, you would use 게. And the same way it would behave like 걘, 걔가, 걔도, 걔, 걔거, like that. 그의 것 would become 걔거 in spoken Korean. Once again, I'll remind you, these things, you would see, as I said, 게 is not that common. So when you see 게, when you hear 게 in conversations, because you wouldn't use 게 in a written form of something. So when you're using it in spoken conversations, you would usually 걔는, 걔가 또 그랬어, things like that. Nobody would say 걔거, things like that. Instead of saying 걔거, they would just use that person's name. Suppose that person's name is 승진. 승진 거가 거기 있던데. You could say like that. You would never say, I have never heard in a conversation being said that 걔 거가 거기 있던데. I haven't heard someone saying like that. So I don't think you need to remember ko. Just remember that it can be used in conversations like 걔는, 걔가, 걔를, things like that. Only those three. So we'll be moving to 그분, since 그녀 is the same pattern as 그. I'm not going into that. So the last part of this lesson, 그분. 그분 can be once again used for male, female, or whatever other gender you might be. It could be used for anyone. And it is 존댓말. 존댓말 means polite speech. And it is, of course, much, much more common than 그 and 그녀. So it would behave with particles as 그분은, 그분이, 그분도, 그분을. As we learned in the previous lessons, it just behaves according to whether there's a button or not. So there's not much new here. Then when possessive comes, 그분의. But then when you are speaking, usually A is omitted with 그분. Once again, it's not that important of a thing, considering that it's not that commonly used in conversations. So I wouldn't say that you need to put too much attention to this lesson, because you could learn the other important things first, and you would naturally catch up the less important things when you listen to songs or conversations or dramas or things like that. It would naturally go into your head. So since this lesson is there in our material, I went through it since I didn't want to skip anything, but I wouldn't say this is an important lesson. Then the last one is 그분의 것. And instead of saying 그분의 것, you would usually just say 그분 거. And 그분 거 may be a bit commonly used, then again, not that much. So yeah, according to the degree of commonness in conversations, 그분은, 그분이, 그분도, 그분을 would be more common compared to the others. So yeah, that's it for today's lesson. What you can do is that you can use these pronouns in sentences. You could try using them in sentences and put those sentences in the comment box, and I'll be checking all of them personally as usual. And I hope today's class was clear. It might be a bit confusing considering that it's not a commonly used category of pronouns or stuff, whatever it is. So if you have any doubts, you can also put those in the comment box. I'll be getting to all of you personally. So yeah, we would see in the next week with another topic. Thank you.